Hey, welcome back to edtech by Meera, and today we are doing another Python beginner project, which is to create a program for a Python email validator using Python 3. So let's see how this is done in very few lines of code, and it's so simple to be treated as a mini project for Python beginners, those who love to learn Python right from scratch. Now there are several methods to validate emails in Python, but this project will be using the Python library, the validate email library, in order to get this done in few lines of code. And the beauty of this is, by using this library, you can really kind of figure out whether something is missing. Like, for example, if the @ is missing or the .com is missing, the dot is missing, it's very comprehensive. So let's get started without wasting much time. I've already imported. So first we start with import from validate email, import validate email, comma, email not valid error. So that why we are doing this import is so that it will install that validate email library and then the module, and then because of this packaging, by importing this validate email, it will kind of detect the error in the email as compared to the normal email that is supposed to be. And then we start by giving the actual normalized value of email. Consider email as a variable in which we give the normalized value. Why normalized? Because here it's supposed to be something like, it's a string value, starts with the name, @ then the domain has to be there, the .com or the .org or whatever, .net, something like that. It could be yahoo.com, gmail.com, .org, anything. So that's also, so this format, the domain, the @ the name. Okay, then you have to place conditions, etc., and then create functions and variables. So now what do you mean by is? So we are considering a perfect condition, a perfect situation, whereby which is called is. We have to define, or you have to describe, or you have to consider, rather, you're not defining a function here. You have to consider is valid mail. So what is a valid email? So the valid, you have to describe that. So the is valid email, so that means we are trying to figure out or trying to determine the valid email. So the valid email structure will be got after doing the validate email function with the parameter of email. Remember, we've already imported the validate email. So if we use the validate email function with the email as a parameter, then that will give you the exact valid email structure. So that's why we say is valid. Now, is valid, you can just say is valid email, or you can say is valid, that's up to you. But that's basically to determine and to get done, to determine how to validate the email from a given email, or how to determine the error. So this is used for validating the email. So is valid email is validate email with the parameter of email, obviously. Now, using that definition, we have to place some conditions. So basically, is valid email is the structure of the validated, the correct format of email. So the condition is, if is valid email, that means, for short, meaning if the email format is in a valid form, which is validated by the imported validate email that you have imported and downloaded. So that means it's in the correct format. Then you give the instruction to the computer to print email is valid. So this is a structure. Else meaning if is valid email is not true, if it is false. So here is true is understood. So if is valid email is true, that means it's a validated email. Then print email is valid. If it's not a validated email, by the library. Then, because the library will detect whether it's validated or not validated. So then print email is not valid. So simple. I mean, this is the simplest of code you can use, and you will see how it works. It's very powerful. Yeah. So first you imported the validate email with the error form. After that you kind of put the string value of the correct format of the email for the variable email. Then after that you are saying the condition for is valid email. Then you put the if else condition. So here you can see it's already, when you're running it, it says the package already, validate email package already installed. So okay, there's some error here. Let me figure out. Okay, I think there's a spelling mistake in the import. Import, it's supposed to be import validate. Let's figure out. Okay, it should be from validate email, import validate email. Sorry, I did a mistake. It's when you're importing, you have to be very careful. And then I'm using, for your information, I'm using the Replit editor, code editor. It's so easy to get it done here, and it's easy to install packages also. Yeah. Okay. So just checking if anything else is amiss and run it again. And then the best part is here, email I've given already johndoe@yahoo.com or whatever. After checking it, you can replace it with several different values. So you can check for different other values as well. So there's a parenthesis missing. So this is the way you can read the error messages. Here it says missing parenthesis in call to print. Maybe I missed out somewhere. Let me figure out. So by the way, I'll be doing several such hundreds of Python projects for beginners. There you go, validate, I forgot, sorry. So I'm going to do several hundreds and thousands of, at least hundreds of Python beginner projects. So I want you guys to smash the subscribe button if you want to get your weekly information of Python projects for beginners and help in your Python journey. Okay, let me see if it's running now. From validate email, import value. There was a spelling mistake. Email, not valid email. Okay, so until here is clear. Sometimes there's a small bug and it's difficult to debug. Okay. johndoe@yahoo.com, and then is valid email, whatever the definition, using the function validate email, so that will validate the email and check out the error for you. That's the function of the function of the validate email is to determine if the email that is provided is valid or not, and to give the error message, what is missing. There you go, email is valid. So the validate email function has done its job. It was able to detect that this is valid. So now what I'm trying to do is at gmail.com I want to remove the at. So email is not valid, invalid or not valid, whatever it says, depending on the print statement you had given. Okay, now I want to correct this email again. So you can try out different ways. I put the @ again. Okay. Okay, suppose it can't be Yahoo and Gmail. It cannot be two domains. So yahoo.com. Email is valid. There you go. So I corrected the format and now it's validating it. So it was able to validate and show that there is no error. says that it's a valid email. Now I'm trying to do purposely some mistakes. At the rate I brought again, I just okay, it's instead of mistake I just changed the domain name. It's still email is valid because it could be Gmail, it could be Yahoo, it can be anything. So domain name change doesn't make a difference. Okay. Now this is not okay. Okay, it's still valid. Let me try some more changes. You can also try by removing the .com. It will show. Okay, let's try. John Doe dot. This is just .com. John Doe gmail.com. So it will show that at the rate is missing. So now I put the at the rate. So it's going to exactly show you that okay, when I took out at the rate, it said at the rate asterisk is missing. Wait. So let's make some other changes and see. Okay, I decided to remove the com. There you go. There it says cannot end with a dot. Email cannot end like email cannot end with a dot. There should be a com over there or something else over there. The domain name is not complete. You know, you get different kind of error messages. So I want you to go and read that long error message. Then I put back the complete domain name because the domain name was incomplete. So it will point out, the error message will point out that it's incomplete and that you have to put it back. There you go, email is valid. So it will take care and find out if the domain name is complete or not, if there's a dot missing in the domain name, if there's a com missing, if there's an asterisk missing, you know, things like that. So it's quite interesting. It will not be able to tell you whether this email exists or not, but at least it will be able to tell you if it's in the right, correct format or not. So that is the beauty of importing this library, the email validate library. Just by importing that, it's able to do a whole lot of things. Yeah, and with very minimal line of code, by just using the function is valid email, it's like kind of able to do so many things. So this is the email validator project, mini project in Python for Python beginners. And I really appreciate if you smash that subscribe button and the bell button, notification button, so that you get to receive a whole lot of Python beginner projects in your inbox once every week. So there's just repeating it. After importing the validate email, I described how to use the isValid statement and the if else condition, and then here I'm showing you in the imports. See, it's showing Python packager valid email. It's showing very clearly. Email validator valid email. These packages were automatically installed when I just did the imports. So that's quite interesting. This will show you under the imports section of the code editor, the Replit code editor. So I want you guys to use the Replit code editor, since if you're a beginner, it's really very helpful. Yeah, and I want you to practice this separately. Subscribe for full course of Python beginners. See you in the next.